Today we come to my favorite topic again. Nigel Farage is a political figure known for his divisive style, populist rhetoric, and an uncanny ability to stir controversy wherever he goes. But lately, it's not Brexit or immigration that's thrusting him back into the headlines. It's his provocative statements about LGBT rights, particularly same-sex marriage, that are causing an uproar. Recently, during a live phone-in session on LBC Radio alongside presenter Nick Farage reignited debates over LGBT rights in the UK by openly declaring that legalizing same-sex marriage was, in his words, wrong. And he argued that the introduction of the Marriages or the Same-Sex Couples Act in 2013, enacted without explicitly being part of any party manifesto, was inappropriate, despite acknowledging that the issue is now settled. Farage further claimed that the previously existing civil partnership arrangements were already working equitably and fairly. Not surprisingly, these comments immediately drew sharp criticism from LGBTQ+ advocates and political opponents alike, many pointing out Farage's long history of controversial stances on similar issues. But to understand the full context of this controversy, we need to dive deeper into Farage's past remarks and actions related to LGBT rights. In earlier debates, Farage infamously suggested that the Church of England might be forced against its will to conduct same-sex marriages, a statement critics argued was alarmist and unfounded, deliberately stoking cultural tensions. And this is precisely the pattern. Farage makes provocative comments, generates controversy, then positions himself as a victim of political correctness when the inevitable backlash follows. And today, Reform UK, the political vehicle Farage now leads, formerly known as the Brexit Party, is riding high in polls, prompting speculation that these controversial remarks are part of a calculated strategy. And some political analysts argue that Farage's comments aim squarely at socially conservative voters who share similar sentiments, reminiscent of tactics employed by populist figures like Donald Trump. And it appears this really isn't mere coincidence. Farage himself has recently adopted rhetoric echoing Trump, especially on issues of national identity and cultural conservatism, fueling further concerns about the direction of his party, and has a similar relationship to Musk, I think, at the moment. Indeed, Reform UK explicitly brands itself in opposition to divisive woke ideology, talking hardline stances on immigration, gender identity, and now seemingly on LGBTQ rights as well. And this strategic pivot towards social conservatism seems deliberate, aiming to mobilize voters frustrated by what they perceive as cultural overreach. Yet, this has left Farage navigating a fine line. While appealing to conservative voters, he is simultaneously alienating many moderates and younger voters who view LGBT rights as fundamental and settled. And the backlash online has been swift and vehement. LGBTQ+ and whatever letters more advocacy groups were quick to respond, with LGBTQ Voices UK tweeting, "Farage's comments are a slap in the face to every LGBTQ+ couple who fought for the right to marry. We won't be erased." And the timing couldn't be more delicate for Farage and Reform UK given recent polling. A substantial new poll from YouGov sampling 11,500 voters indicates that Reform UK could potentially become the largest party in Parliament if elections were held today, securing around 271 seats, significantly ahead of Labour's projected 178 seats. And this would represent a seismic shift in British politics, further intensifying the scrutiny on Farage's every statement and position. Farage, who once led the charge for Britain's exit from the European Union, now finds himself leading another cultural battle, and this time potentially reshaping the UK's approach to social policy. Beyond LGBT issues, Farage also made waves by controversially stating that cabinet ministers shouldn't necessarily be elected politicians. And for once, I agree with him. He suggested, for example, that running public finances should be more akin to managing a business, citing the US model favorably, a statement that critics argue shows a disturbing disregard for democratic accountability. Yeah, I don't agree with him on the US part, but we have ministers often that are not members of parliament. But the heart of the current controversy remains his stance on same-sex marriage. And Farage insists that his view on the topic, or his views, are simply about democratic process and the inappropriate manner in which same-sex marriage legislation was introduced. Yet, critics see this as a thinly veiled social conservatism, reinforcing divisive narratives that can stigmatize LGBT individuals. And this controversy is not just a fleeting media storm. It reflects broader societal tensions about cultural and social identity in modern Britain. Farage is clearly gambling that by voicing these contentious positions, he will consolidate support among voters frustrated by rapid cultural shifts. However, this tactic also risks significant backlash, alienating moderates and young voters, potentially limiting the electoral appeal of Reform UK over the long term. As Britain moves toward its next general election scheduled for 2029, so there is still some time, the political landscape appears increasingly fractured. And Nigel Farage, a figure who thrives in controversy, stands at the epicenter of these cultural battles, with his recent LGBT-related remarks exemplifying the volatile intersection of politics and identity. So in short, Farage's recent comments are not merely isolated statements, but part of a broader and deliberate political strategy aiming to capture the votes of those disillusioned by cultural liberalization or the excessive use of that. Whether the strategy proves successful or backfires spectacularly, one thing is clear. Farage remains adept at dominating the news cycle for better or worse. And in a Britain deeply divided by culture wars, by identity politics and economic uncertainty, Farage's approach, embracing controversy to mobilize his base, could indeed reshape the political landscape profoundly, like it or not. But at what cost? That remains to be seen. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen.